Did you see what silver just did? It did something we haven't seen in 40 years. In 1 week, it surged, collapsed, and then surged again. Most investors panicked. They sold and walked away. But that was a huge mistake, because hidden inside that wild volatility is one of the clearest data signals we've ever seen for where silver is headed by 2027. This is the evidence. Let's follow it. So, what actually happened? COMEX, the futures exchange, raised margin requirements overnight. All those traders using borrowed money to play the silver market got margin calls. They were forced to sell, creating a massive exit. The price dropped 11% in a single trading session. But here's what's truly fascinating. What didn't happen? Physical silver didn't budge. In fact, the premiums you pay for real physical metal actually went up during the crash. Let that sink in for a second. The paper price crashed, but the physical price held firm. That's not a sign of weakness. That's the market screaming that paper promises. And real metal are two very different things now. The anything but paper movement didn't even flinch. Now, let's look at the data that Wall Street isn't talking about. We are currently in the 5th consecutive year of a structural silver supply deficit. 5 years, back to back. The Silver Institute reports the total shortfall is over 820 million ounces. That's not a small number. That is a systemic imbalance. And what about demand? It's not slowing down, it's accelerating. Solar panels, electric vehicles, AI data centers, every single one of these booming industries runs on silver. EV production alone is projected to consume 90 million ounces of silver a year by 2027. That us triple what it was just back in 2020. The supply deficit is getting bigger every single year. Then, China stepped in and implemented silver export controls. This isn't a proposal or a discussion, it's a done deal. They've put a licensing system in place, restricting which companies are even allowed to export silver. Now, China produces about 16% of the world's silver supply. They just put a valve on it and can now control the flow. This move didn't just tighten supply, it signaled their intent. China doesn't restrict strategic resources like this without a very good reason. So what does all this data tell us about silver's path to 2027? We have 3 signals all converging at once. First, the gold to silver ratio. Right now it's hovering around 88-1. Historically, when this ratio compresses back toward its average of about 60-1, with gold at its current price, silver's price target goes past $120 an ounce. Second, monetary debasement isn't going away. Central banks are printing more and more money, and every new dollar created is a silent argument for holding real assets like silver. Third, and this is crucial, the supply chain simply can't respond fast enough. It takes 7 to 10 years to bring a new silver mine online. So while demand grows, the deficit just gets worse. These 3 forces don't cancel each other out. They stack on top of one another, creating immense pressure. If this analysis is giving you a new way to look at precious metals, do me a favor and hit that like button. It really helps the algorithm show this research to more people who need to see it. Okay, so here's the scenario that the data supports. If the supply deficit continues, which it shows every sign of doing, if China maintains its export restrictions, and if industrial demand hits its projected levels by 2027, then the structural price floor for silver shifts dramatically higher. We are not talking about $35 silver. We are not even talking about $50 silver. The evidence from supply, demand, monetary policy, and the gold ratio all points toward a price discovery range of $80 to $150 by the end of 2027. That is not a wild prediction. That is simply where the data leads when you ignore the headlines and follow the evidence. That volatility you just watched? That was just noise shaking out the paper traders. The real signal is the deficit, the export controls, and the unstoppable industrial demand. In the next part of this investigation, we'll break down the exact silver price milestones to watch for and what will trigger each one. The question isn't whether silver will move by 2027. The question is, how will you be positioned before it does? Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss part 2.